All right, round of applause for Bridget from Alaska. It is 6 a.m. there. That is dedication. I love it. We have Molly from Portland, Oregon. Jessica, I know we have Canadians in this group, so let's see if they're here today. Suzanne, fellow North Carolinian from Asheville. Good morning, everyone. I am so glad to see you all. Tell me, is this anyone's first live Q&A? Are you here from our May boot camp? I would love to know who our new people are so we can give you all a warm welcome and welcome to our first live Q&A. Okay, so as a little icebreaker question, I would love to know, how would you describe your stage presence? We were talking about this yesterday in Mic Drop Club. Like, my stage presence is going to be very different from your stage presence. And so sometimes I hesitate, in the course showing you what I do on stage, because I don't want you to feel like you have to be me. I want you to be you. And so I get a lot of messages where like, I want to see, your full talk. And I put some of my talk in there so you can see certain things. But our stage presence is going to be totally different. It took me years to figure out what my stage presence was. Let's see, quirky and confident. I love that. Direct and blunt. Rachel, that is brilliant. Let's see, vibrant, positive, extroverted. I love that, Nicole. Decent behind a podium, but could use improvement. Julie, that's why we're all here. I love that. Confident and warm. Share, that is, I love that. Lots of eye contact, Anna. That's tough to do. And so that's really, oh, Isabel, look at this. This could be a really good thing for your website. I don't absorb the energy, I create it. Ooh, that's a really good one. Wendy, I love this. Bold, scared rabbit. Rebecca, this is interesting. Could be a badass, could be a nice girl. I don't know if you have to choose. I think there's probably a hybrid of both. I feel the same way sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I want to be the really bold, direct, blunt person. And then I'm also the funny, like person sitting in your living room with like drinking a glass of wine with your shoes off. And so I think showing them both can be good as well. Okay, this is so good. For anyone who was in Mic Drop Club yesterday, we talked a little bit about using our frame and everything. Anyone who is new, if you're curious about Mic Drop Club, it is our monthly meetup specifically related to improving your skills and your presence as a speaker. It has nothing to do with getting booked or the business side of speaking. So if you're someone who really just wants to focus on your delivery and your stage presence, and whether that's virtual or in person, Mic Drop Club would be great for you. We meet every month virtually and quarterly in person in different cities. So you can go, I'll actually put this in the chat. Students get 50% off. So let me put this in here. Oh, good. I'm glad that you guys like Mic Drop Club. Okay, so there were some questions about that. And then some other housekeeping things, and go ahead and start to put your questions in the chat. Some of you said that you're not getting the speaking texts from students. I sent out a voice memo on Tuesday to students. If you did not get that, then go ahead, text MD student to 704-228-9495. And I'm going to try to do a voice note or something once a month, so I'm not blowing you all up with some tip or something to try or something related to public speaking or trends that I'm seeing. Oh, Shayna, I like that. Likeable badass. That would be a good title too. So if you're not getting the text and you want to get the voice notes from me, then you can go ahead and put MD student 704-228-9495 and make sure you get that. One more announcement. The next live Q&A is actually going to be July 11th at 10 a.m. Eastern because the first Friday falls on July 4th in July. So we're pushing it back a week. We'll send out email reminders, but just for your mental heads up, we are pushing the live Q&A to July 11th because hopefully we'll just be eating hot dogs and shooting off some fireworks, not shooting up some fireworks. Okay. Yeah, I'll put this in the chat, Susan. Great idea. Text MD student to 704-228-9495. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into some questions. Also, I'm living life on the edge this morning. My flight boards in an hour, but I live really close to the airport, so I fully take advantage of that. And one day, I know I'm going to meet my consequence, but hopefully not today. Okay. I need to get started, so I'm looking for what is low-hanging fruit so I can quickly up-level my internal enthusiasm. This is a great, also, I love the level up your internal enthusiasm. I don't know if this is like what you do, but this is a really interesting topic that could be interesting for workplace. I love that. So a couple things that I would do for low-hanging fruit, and I'm curious if you all have ideas for what was low-hanging fruit to you. Your speaker statement. Get really clear on what you need to be known for. That is the first domino to all of this. You can't start pitching. You can't start building your personal brand. You can't start building your keynote until you're like, I know that I speak on this. So if you don't have your speaker statement yet, that would be step one. And again, that's in the course. Good. It is what you do. I love it. Level up your internal enthusiasm. So you probably already have your speaker statement then. So the next thing that I would do is I would just do a comb of all of your social media or digital presence, especially your LinkedIn, if you're not active on there yet, and put that speaker statement where people can see it. And then I would go to what I call closest to cash. Look at who's in your network. Who do you know that works at a chamber? Who do you know that works at a local business? It could be big or small. It doesn't have to be this major corporation. And can you reach out to them and say, hey, I am just getting started on my speaking journey. I'm helping teams level up their internal enthusiasm so they can be more engaged at work. I'm looking to get some reps under my belt, some experience. Do you have anything that I could come help out for? And just see who, maybe there's people that you already know that are like, yes, we have a lunch and learn, the first Thursday of every month, or, oh, we have a women's leadership series or an employee resource group. So make your speaker statement known and then start looking at your closest to cash. Who are people in your network that work at a chamber, that work in association, that work at a local business that doesn't require, some huge contract or travel, just so you can start getting reps. That's what I would start doing. Let's see, Jenny. How do we make our stories flow together better for a cohesive talk? Good question. So a couple different options. There's two different ways that you can organize your keynote. It is through chronological story. So your stories, like your bumps, that spikes, flow chronologically. Or the second way is by lesson that they need to understand. So you're taking them more on a lesson journey, and then the story that you learn from that lesson. So I would choose which one you want to lead with, story or lesson. Personally, I like figuring out my lessons first, and then my supporting stories second. And then I would, as far as making the stories flow together, there are some transition words, some transition phrases that I've put in the course They're like story leads and lesson leads. But, your stories are going to be bumpered by lessons. So it's not necessarily that you need to have a flow of your stories. It's more about having a flow of the lesson. So, for example, in one lesson, I'm talking about in middle school, getting published in Chicken Soup for the Soul. I hit them with my spike, my lesson. You have to go for it in order to see what could be. And then I'm going into my next lesson. And then that's a different story that has nothing to do with getting in Chicken Soup for the Soul. So I might be less concerned with making sure your stories flow, and instead start mapping out your lessons first. And then look at those story transition lines in the course. Let's see, I'm sending my first submissions this month. What format do I need to write up? Nicole, are you talking about like submitting to a conference? Usually they have an online form that you'll put that into. So, but if you're emailing someone, I wouldn't put it in a Google Doc. I would put it directly in the email because people are weird about opening links from unknown people. So I would put it directly in the email or fill it out on their website. Very rarely do I have to submit a Google Doc to anyone. All right. Let's see. Laura Ora, I can't find any good pictures to add to my keynote slides that are related. It was a while ago. Should I just use general? Yeah. If you don't have any specific photos of you in that moment, there's really good stock photos now. I used to be really anti-stock photos because it was all like white men in button-up suits holding a cup of coffee, like, hey. But now there's some really good, diverse, authentic stock photos that you can find on Canva. So I'm totally good with that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's see. Would love guidance on process for practicing and refining telling my stories in a way that builds momentum and impact towards a spike. Okay, this is a really great question and similar to what we're building off of having your stories flow. This question is more, how do your stories flow into your lesson, which is more what we're concerned with. We're not going up there to be necessarily a storyteller. We're going up there to be impactful in our lessons. So I love where this question is leading, because this is, how do we use our story in order to build momentum towards the spike, that one-liner. So again, those story leads and lesson leads I have in the course are going to be great bites that are those like transition lines. So I would use that. But one thing I would challenge you to do, Ria, is, and we talked about this in Mic Drop Club yesterday, is try to think about your positioning on stage as a way to increase the buildup. So when you bump, when you're teeing people up for your lesson, you're on one side of the stage talking to people. And I say stage, I could also mean room. And then set your transitioning to the story. You go to the other side of the stage and you're telling the story. And then when you spike, when you hit them with your one-liner, always move to the center of the stage and stand still when you say it. So verbally, you have some transition lines that are in the course, like, and the one thing I wanted to remember from this moment was this spike. Or if I could pull out the headline or the takeaway from this experience for all of you, it would be this spike. But physically, you can also build that suspense and tell them the spike in the middle of the stage. Let's see. Making my social media flow with the different hats I wear. I give presentations about stem cells and human body. I'm creating a keynote more towards human emotional hygiene. Shannon, I would think about what's the through line through all of this, like what has always been true through stem cells and human body, but also emotional hygiene, or what's your personal story that led you from going here to there. One thing that I want to make clear is that you don't have to put yourself in a box and say, I am only a speaker and I only do this. You can see my LinkedIn that I am talking about you all and what I do at Mic Drop. And I'm also talking about what I do as a speaker myself, which are two different businesses, but I also find the through line. So find the through line, but also don't be afraid to talk about both. Tiffany, last time I was speaking, one leg started trembling. I was too nervous to move around, thinking my leg might give out. Any tips for in the moment? Tiffany, did you ask this, I think, yesterday in club, and we just didn't get a chance to get to it? One thing that I would do is if you're starting to have any kind of nervous, your voice is quivering, your leg is trembling, your hands start shaking, which I've totally had before. Two options for you when you're in the moment on stage. The first thing that I want you to try is squeezing and tensing your whole body. And people don't even know. I'm holding my fists like this, but I would just have them below my body and just squeeze as I'm still talking and hold and squeeze everything. Like you're doing Kegels and then relax. And sometimes that can just give you an automatic reset to your nervous system. And then if that's not working and you really think it's something that people are noticing, which they're probably not, I would just say, guys, I'm really nervous right now. I'm like, I really care a lot, and just own it. I've done that before as well, where I'm like, I lose my train of thought and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just super excited to be here. And I just forgot what I was saying. There's a reason why ChatGPT isn't taking over going on stages right now, because people want humans. So don't be afraid to be human, Tiffany. Let's see. Do you have any women in business certifications? So this is an interesting question. I would say if you do any kind of like coaching or consulting, having a women business certification can be helpful, because if you work with government companies, they need to make sure that they are working with women. But otherwise, I haven't seen that be a huge help in the speaking industry, other than people just want to book women speakers. The certification isn't really something that I've seen them looking for. Mission statement is going to be your broad umbrella of your entire brand. So if you want to write books, if you have a podcast, if you're coaching, your mission statement encompasses all of that. Your speaker statement is your keynote and maybe your workshop. So they can be very similar, but they're not the same. Do we keep old platforms on social media or start new? I would keep your old platform. And if people don't like the new content, they can unfollow you. I would keep it. I would keep things simple and keep your old platform. Also, don't create a separate platform, like for you personally and for you speaking. People like to follow people. So don't worry about being like, this is my speaking platform and this is me. Keep it all one. Let's see. Comms manager, getting ready to launch my speaking services on LinkedIn. Any advice on doing both and not risking your day job? So a couple things around this. I would always just be clear if you have any kind of doubt. I wouldn't try to hide it. Know that you own your LinkedIn. Your boss doesn't, so you can put what you want, on your LinkedIn. But also maybe figure out a way. We have a lot of people in here whose bosses and employers want them to be speaking and want them to speak at their company and see that as a net positive for them. So it could be that you also make it a way where, like, I would love to speak at our conference and help mobilize our teams and make it a win for your boss. Let's see. Michelle, looking for best camera and microphone for online sessions. So I have, let me see. This is one I travel with, so it's not what I'm using right now, but this is a Yeti Blue microphone that I've had for years that has been pretty easy. We have in the virtual section of the course about virtual gigs, there's a shopping list of the mics and everything that I recommend. I don't use an external camera. That just scares me for some reason. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to figure that out. So I just use my Mac HD camera. Let's see. Is it necessary to have slides and photos? My litmus test is if it will enhance the audience experience, do the slide. If it's for your personal memory, don't do it. Be able to do your talk without your slides. So I would make sure that if it's something that you think, oh, it'd be so cool if they could see this photo of this story I'm talking about, or I really want them to see the explanation that I'm showing them in some sort of graphic. The only thing that I think is important for slides, or that I've seen the impact of, is your one-liners, your spikes. People love to take pictures of those slides. And so most of the content and things that I'm tagged in after I speak is people taking pictures of me with my one-liner behind me with my social handle and tagging me. So that's the only thing, Rashmi, I wouldn't want you to miss out on that opportunity if you don't have slides. Suzanne, 1 hour is, and then Q&A is something you would decide with the meeting planner before. Like, do you want Q&A? But right now I'm usually getting asked to speak closer to 45 minutes. It's getting shorter, but I would build your keynote as if it's an hour so you can deliver an hour, and then just tweak and remove a lesson to hit that 45-minute. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this in the morning. If you're looking for low-hanging fruit to just get started, speaker statement, optimize your social with your speaker statement, and then start reaching out to your closest to cash, people in your network, saying what you are excited to do, to be honest with them, tell them you're just getting started and looking to get some reps under your belt. We have a total module on website and what to put on there in the course. So you can look at that. Let's see. Best way to keep track of the time while talking if there isn't a clock visible. Oh my gosh, Jenny, this happened to me. I spoke at Circle K on Tuesday and they didn't have a clock. And they wanted me to speak for kind of like a weird timing, 40 minutes, when I'm usually like 45 to an hour. And so 2 things you can do. You can set up your phone, which is really annoying, and have a timer on it that you can see from the stage. Or you can tell the event planner to give a wave when you have 10 minutes left, give a wave when you have 5 minutes left. Hate doing that, but it also works. So I would do either one of those, whichever one you feel most comfortable with, but it is kind of annoying when that happens. I would say that usually there is a clock. Let's see. In writing moment to meaning, I'm struggling with it, feeling like it's just about me. While there are messages for the audience, how do I overcome the feeling of being egotistical? Great question, Leslie. Couple things that come to mind. One, it's the first time they're hiring you, this human, to speak. So they want to hear what your personal stories are and what you have to say. But the other thing that I would think about is if you feel like it is like, oh, I'm just talking about me and this is uncomfortable, before you hit them with a spike, add in a point of research or add in like a stat or something that makes it like a more widely known thing that is connected to your story. So for example, I talk about, kind of getting lost in the shuffle of running a business and getting caught up in the accolades. And before I hit them with my spike, I talk about a study at Yale where they interviewed hospital custodians and found the people that were really happy and fulfilled in their jobs were the ones that really connected to the patients. And so I had to do the same thing. And then I hit them with a spike. So I'm using my story, but I'm also using a point of research. And now Claude and ChatGPT, there's a bunch of AI support that can help you with this research. And you can even just put in, hey, there's a part of my keynote where I'm talking about this lesson. Can you cite some sources for me with case studies, stats, or something that I can include? It's literally cut my research time in half. Let's see. Yeah, Rebecca, when you include personal stories, I wouldn't say that you're capitalizing on it. I would just say, as long as your side of the street is clean and everyone is impacted by that story, whether it's their family or something like that, is on board with it, then it's totally fine. But that's, when I ever share a personal story, like my uncle, being Bernie Madoff or something, like I went through my family before and say, hey, planning to talk about this. Just want to let everyone know. Let me know if you have any issues with it. Let's see, Nicole, starting out speaking, don't have any book, website, anything else, have been off social media for years. Okay, Nicole, I would focus on LinkedIn. That is where I am seeing the most business being generated for speaking specifically. So I would focus on building your LinkedIn if you're totally starting from scratch. And then you can use your LinkedIn to build your speaking presence. And then the next thing I would focus on is a website, but I would start on LinkedIn. All right. Oh, great question, Jessica. What are some good tips to recover if something happens in the audience, phone going off, or other distractions? This literally, again, happened to me on Tuesday at Circle K. Someone, I can't remember, I mentioned some celebrity and someone was like, yeah. Oh, I started talking about Will Ferrell and they were like, I love Anchorman, da, da, da. And it kind of threw me because you're reading, you have this like run of show in your head. And then you're like, okay, where did I go from here? And I forgot what I was saying. And so I just kind of did a joke where I was like, hold on, let me get back to what I was saying. And then I just went, do, 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 do. And it got, a laugh, but it kind of gave me a minute. The other thing that I would suggest is I have kind of these, what do I call it? As I'm saying, how do I do this? Pockets of lessons and stories that if I ever feel like I need to fill time, I'm ending earlier than I thought, or I'm losing my train of thought and need to get back, I'll just pull one of those out. They're not a part of my keynote typically, but I know they're good. And I just kind of have them tucked away of like a story or a lesson that I can pull if I feel distracted. And so that's another thing. It's just kind of having a couple things in your back pocket that you can pull out. But I'm also team being honest, like, hold on, I just lost my train of thought. Let me get back to it. All right. Okay, Jen. Yeah, I remember this question from Club yesterday. Honestly, I think that we are getting more and more comfortable in relaxed attire. What I would say is that if your attire is like Mel Robbins or Alex Cooper with Collar Daddy, where you're doing the sneakers and maybe, the t-shirt or something like that, as long as it is what is reflected on your website. If on your website is you in this like super professional attire, and then you show up in something super casual, that might be like, oh, but if that's what they know they're booking, then I would stick with it. So stick with what you are, but do it throughout your personal brand. Let's see. Yeah, definitely fact check ChatGPT. Heather, this is a great suggestion. Anthropic's Claude AI is a helpful tool. Okay, I have time for like one more, and I think I got through everything. If we keep our platform, do we change the name? Yes, I would change your name to first name, last name instead of your business name. So that is something that I would do because people want to know your name. People are more likely to remember your name than they are to remember your business. So have your social media be Bridget instead of your business name. If your company is completely separate and you're still doing it, then yes, maybe start over. Like if you have a dog brand that is still in business. But otherwise, I would make it your first name, last name.com. Okay, I'm going to hit these really quick. What's your process for editing out parts of the story that aren't necessarily necessary or adding impact? I test it as it comes out of my mouth. For example, I tried some new stuff on Tuesday and then I was like, yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. But I see how did it feel when I delivered it. Was I really excited? Was I really feeling it? That's a really good kind of litmus test for you. Yeah, Rashmi, if you have a website that is something else, I would tweak for what do you want people to do? And this is a good one to end on. What is it that you want people to do when they go to your website? You want them to book you as an actor, or do you want them to book you as a speaker? This is for everyone. If your website is a lot of your coaching and stuff too, which is great, you don't have to delete it. You can still keep it, but you really want people to focus on your speaking, lead with that, and then have your coaching be beneath that. So lead with what you want people to do. Okay, we are at time. The announcements for anyone that wasn't there. If you want to join our Mic Drop Club and practice your stage presence and overall delivery skills, again, this has nothing to do with the business of speaking, but more of your stage skills and presence. Go to micdropworkshop.com/club, and you all get 50% off for being a student. So it's like less than $100 a year for the whole thing. You can use the code MDWS25 and get half off of that. And then the next live Q&A will be July 11th because the first Friday is on 4th of July. So we're pushing it back a week. And I think that this is it. Thank you all so much. You all are the best. And I will see you after 4th of July and in the Speaker Sister group. Bye, everyone. I'm going to go run to my flight.